I wasn't in the mortgage business when I bought the house at 21 years old. I was just in the credit union world at the time.
Welcome to the Dream is Real podcast brought to you by Dream Select Realty. I'm Gigi, your host. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, a seasoned investor, or simply curious about the world of real estate, this is the place for you. We dive deep into the latest trends, tips, and insights to help you make informed decisions and turn your real estate dreams into reality. Today we have Nick Ceccarini from Weatherstone Mortgage Corp. He has over 3 decades of experience in the mortgage industry and a stellar reputation as a trusted advocate for homebuyers on Long Island. With his personalized approach, commitment to simplifying the mortgage process, and dedicated team, Nick has established Weatherstone Mortgage as a go-to resource for first-time homebuyers and seasoned investors alike. He guides clients through every step of securing a mortgage with expertise and attention to detail that set them apart in a competitive market. We are so excited to welcome you, Nick, to the show today. Welcome.
Good morning, Gigi, and nice to be here. I'm excited.
We're excited too. Good morning to you too. And we're so happy you joined us for this episode. It's great meeting you. So tell us, how long have you been living on Long Island and where are you located?
Okay, so I have lived on Long Island my entire life. My parents moved here, I guess, 53 years ago. We moved to Long Island, 54, something about that. Grew up in Central Islip, Long Island. Moved to Freeport, met my beautiful wife. We lived there for about 10 years, and then we've now lived for 23 years in Miller Place, Long Island. My office is in Holbrook, which is right down the block from here.
Yeah, we're very close, and I love that. So why did you choose that specific location to live?
The location in Miller Place was more for the schools. We have 4 children. They're older now, but when they were younger, we were looking for a nice school district, a place. We had shopped all over Long Island while we had the home in Freeport to find a home, and we wanted certain things. We wanted a certain amount of bedrooms, certain baths. We wanted to do new construction, and we've looked all over Long Island, found the absolute perfect location, and we absolutely love it there.
That's great. So how was the process of purchasing your home?
Well, back then it was a little different than today. It was a long time ago, and it was a construction project. And it's funny because I'm in the mortgage business, and that was the nervous part of it is, oh my God, am I getting a mortgage for this new home for my wife and I and our children when, I'm in the business, and that should be the easiest thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So your first purchase, were you nervous? Were you already in mortgage business? What was that like for you?
The first purchase was the home in Freeport, and I bought that on my own when I was 21 years old. I did not believe in renting, wanted to buy a first home. My parents thought I was crazy. I bought this small little house on an 85 by 100 lot on the water in Freeport for $85,000. And I was a 21-year-old kid, had to rebuild the whole house. It ended up turning out to be a dream. Met my wife there. We absolutely loved it, but knew that I didn't want my small children to live on the water and possibly if you ever had a problem. So we moved away from the water and we built this house, and the process has changed very different. I wasn't in the mortgage business when I bought the house at 21 years old. I was just in the credit union world at the time, and then got into the mortgage business right afterwards, and I've been there since.
I love that story. So were you able to work with a realtor? How did you do that?
Yes. So when I bought the house in Freeport, I used a local real estate agent, learned a little bit about the real estate business and how it worked and stuff with a listing agent and a sales agent and stuff like that. While living in Freeport, I got in the mortgage business. So I met a lot of real estate agents, and now I know a ton of real estate agents on Long Island and absolutely love them. It's a required part of the selling process. I don't think anyone should ever sell a house or buy a house without a real estate agent. I don't believe it's the representation is needed. You don't go into court without a lawyer. You don't walk in to buy a home, your biggest purchase of your life, without a real estate agent. I think it's something
Yes.
that's necessary in every transaction.
That's a great analogy. I love that. And so you weren't in mortgage yet when you bought your first home, but then how did that happen? How did you end up working in mortgage? And you have great experience. You've been in business for 30 years now. So tell us how it all started.
So I went to college for a short period of time, came home, wasn't a college student person. That's not for me. I came home, I got a job in a credit union, and I started doing credit card processing and then some more loans. And then I started learning the mortgage process a little bit because the credit union lent mortgages. So I learned a little bit about how a mortgage works, what a mortgage was. Then I bought my home and went through the process. And I realized at that point that I'd be good at it. And I wanted to learn a way to do it for people that didn't have to go through it the way I did and be afraid or stuff like that. I figured we need to hold somebody's hand from the beginning day to the end. And young children, first time home buyers are probably my favorite. They come into my office and I just start from scratch and say hi. And I treat everyone like they're my own kids. And I have my own daughter who's possibly going through this process right now of purchasing a home. And I just sat them down on Wednesday at my kitchen table like they were a regular client and said, okay, bring your pay stubs and W-2s. We're going to try this. So it was a lot of fun.
Oh my, congratulations. And it would be such a privilege for your daughter being able to do this with her dad. I love that. So tell us about Weatherstone Mortgage Corp and what services do you offer and your role in Weatherstone Mortgage.
Sure. So I was working for a firm when I started becoming a mortgage broker. And about 1999, I decided to leave the company I was at and go to another company. So I was looking around and I found the company Weatherstone Mortgage, which was owned by an older attorney. He was unbelievable. His name was Paul Zufer. He has passed since then, but he was incredible. And he had an office in Mineola. And I went to him and said, I want to open a branch. I want to open an office near Suffolk County, Nassau County border. And I want to create a mortgage company for my own, but through your license and stuff. And we did that. And we started out with 5 people. And in 2007, we had 98 people. There was no longer a second office. That was the only office. I bought Paul out at the time. And we were one of the largest. So right now, our NMLS number is 6071, which it started at 60, and 71 is the 71st license in New York State. And right now, there's only 8 still open besides mine. So from 0 to 70, there's only 8. So I'm the 9th longest mortgage broker. And I believe we applied all for them on the same day. It just happened that it was 71. And we've grown after the crash in 2008. We shrunk. We decided to move to Holbrook. We came back to Suffolk County because I live out here. Some of the other employees lived out here. So we moved it to a more shorter drive and an easier way to be around my children. Mm-hmm. And it's unbelievable.
I love that. What an amazing journey. And so you've been doing this for a while, for a long while. So yeah, you love it and you enjoyed it. What do you love or enjoy most about your job?
Well, first of all, I tell everybody, whenever, and my children, especially when you're trying to look for a job, find something you love. I absolutely love what I do. There is no question I wouldn't want to do anything else. I get up in the morning. My wife makes fun of me. 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm up. Let's go. Who's going to get a new loan today? Who wants to get pre-approved? What realtor am I going to talk today to? I enjoy it. I love it. I try to make the experience so enjoyable for the clients. People tell you about the mortgage business nightmares. Honestly, I can tell you I don't have any. I don't have a lot of negative stories in the 30 years of business. I make sure that the people try to get the best deal they possibly can, get the lowest closing cost, try to find the right product for them. But I like to educate them on the way as well. And one of the other things I do is I play very, very well in the sandbox with other mortgage people. I love all the people in mortgage business. It's just not only my company and they're the only ones. I'm a big advocate of other mortgage companies teaching people and doing it the right way. As long as people do it the right way, I get along with so many other mortgage companies. I can pretty much walk into any real estate function and I'm friends with every mortgage company out there.
I love that. Yes. And you said something so important. Education is key. So what sets Weatherstone Mortgage apart from others on Long Island?
I would say that we're probably the most family oriented. We treat every single client like they're a family member. We bring them in. I mean, I walk in the mall, my wife makes fun of me. Any restaurant we go into, my wife makes fun of me. You know everybody. I usually wrote their mortgage. Over 30 years of writing this many mortgages, it's kind of funny and I enjoy it. I love it. I go, oh, I remember that person, but they remember me because I kind of try to teach them as well. I'll educate them on what a loan estimate looks like. What is closing cost? What is in the closing cost? And usually when I disclose stuff, I don't seem to have the lowest closing cost. And that's because I explain to them, I'm going to disclose everything. Certain people will just give you to try to make it look the lowest impossible. I try to explain to you so that when you get to the closing table and I tell you need $22,000, you need 21. I don't want you to need 23, because if you need 2201, you're mad at me. If you need anything below 22, you're happy. So I kind of educate them on every line of it and explain to them everything you need. I also don't allow my clients to be broke the day of closing. I don't want anyone to walk into the closing room and now they can't buy McDonald's tomorrow because they just bought a house and have not a dollar left. I don't like that. Especially the young kids today. They come out, they have student loans, they have all things going on. And I really worry about them that don't use the exact maximum you could buy. If you qualify for a $700,000 house, you should probably buy a $650,000 house. Save some money. Go to the movies still. Go do stuff. Don't just live for your home.
That's great advice because, well, buying a home is so important, but yeah, you're supposed to live in it, right? Enjoy life. Yes. That's great that you get to educate the young kids, first-time home buyers. So let's imagine a first-time home buyer is watching this. What should they expect from the process? How do you work with them?
Okay, so the first step I would say is that they come in or they talk to me over the phone and we try to get their income, asset, and credit and try to figure out their income and what is their, how much money do they make and what can they truly afford. Then I look at the second part and I look at their assets and say, what kind of down payment do they have? What program do they fit? Are they going to go Sony May? Are they going to go conventional? Are they going to go FHA? Are they going to go VA? Like, what type of product is best for them? We try to figure that out, try to figure out a monthly payment. And then we look at their credit. That's the last thing we look at. We try to see what their score is for rate wise. We try to see what programs they're eligible for. Once we figure out a number, then we try to figure out, are they already with a real estate agent? Or am I going to introduce them to a real estate agent and say, this is Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It's their first time home buyer. They're unbelievable children. They're pre-approved for $600,000. And so will now show you a home, and start showing them. And you try to get a feel of the area they want to live in. Do they want 3 bedrooms or 4 bedrooms? Do they want 2 bedrooms or 1 bath? What kind of style? But at the same time, I want them to keep their lifestyle. I want them to be able to still do things. It's not just afford the house, because when you get a mortgage payment, that doesn't tell you about heat, light, electric, car insurance, cell phones, food, the landscaper, the pool guy. None of that is in that number. All it is the mortgage payment. They go, oh, I make $10,000, I can afford $6,000. They think it, but it comes with a lot more, as you know.
Yes, absolutely. And it's a lot of things to take into account. So we were talking about education, and our viewers are first-time home buyers or people that want to learn more about real estate. Can you explain the difference between pre-qualification and pre-approval, and why is it important?
Okay, so a pre-qualification is basically someone comes into your office, someone like me, a mortgage professional, looks at your income, looks at your asset, your credit, and says, okay, I know the guidelines, and this is what you pre-qualify. A pre-approval is I'm a mortgage broker, so I'm going to take your income, I'm going to take your asset, you're going to credit, I'm going to do a to be determined home. I'm going to estimate what I feel you can buy, and I'm actually going to send it to a lender, and I'm going to actually get you approved. I'm either going to run it through a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac engine, or I'm actually going to send you a letter and get you a commitment letter. Now you're committed. So now the lender has seen your stuff and not going to say, well, you've only been working there 1.5 years and you need to be there too. Or, oh, there's large deposits and where they come from. They've actually viewed your documents and said, go buy. You're almost a cash buyer. Well, I mean, all we need is an appraisal and a title and you're closing. So that's definitely something that there is a big difference.
Yes, there is. And are there any myths you encounter, like people come with these ideas that are not what they should think of? Are there any mortgage myths you encounter?
Probably the biggest mortgage myth that I do is that it's okay to go shopping after you're in contract and you already got the mortgage approval before you close. You're not supposed to buy your Mercedes 3 days before closing. That payment now goes into the ratios and could cause a problem. I know you're excited about buying the new house, but don't buy your furniture yet. Wait until you go in. You put it on that credit card, and all of a sudden you got $12,000 in credit cards because you needed a living room, 3 TVs, and a backyard set. And now all of a sudden I go to qualify you, and the bank runs the contingencies. Look at all this debt. So that's probably the biggest thing is do not do any shopping until after you close. The next day, knock yourself out. But until you get to the closing table and you put your pen to the ink, don't buy anything. Wait until afterwards. That would be my biggest information to people to say, if you're a first-time home buyer, be careful. Prior to buying the home, try to keep everything paid perfect. Try to keep that credit score as high as you can. Get as much available credit as you can and keep it where, if your limit is $1,000, keep it down to 200. Don't go over the 50% value and stuff on a credit card and stuff, and really try to keep that score up prior and save every dollar you can. I'm a mortgage guy, and most people would want to get a bigger mortgage. I tell you, take the smallest mortgage you can. put as much down as you possibly can, have the lowest mortgage payment you can. It's for 30 years. It's for a long time, so you might as well have the lowest payment now.
Yeah, that's great advice. Great advice. And it's such a great and important step of something so personal like buying your home. This is your home. So that's great that you get to work with young people and educate them. And I imagine you also work with investors and people with more experience too.
We have all different, I do people that are first-time home buyers. I do people that are buying, upgrading. I have senior citizens that are downsizing. I have family members that, now all their children are gone. They don't need the big house anymore, so they're going down. I have people moving out of state and going to Florida. I have people from Florida coming back because they didn't like Florida. And then I have investors. The investors are all kinds of loans. We have no income check investor loans. Debt servicing is the big product that's out there now. Being in the mortgage business as long as I am, you've seen what the product is that's the current product that everybody's trying to use. There's been, over the 30 years, there's been so many different products. Right now, debt servicing is the big product for investors. Very, very popular. I recommend it if you're buying an investment property to go something like that versus going full income check. It's easier and the rates are very comparable. So that's the big product right now. And we have all kinds of lenders are into that now. That's kind of the product that's out there for everybody.
I love that. So this is very related to our next question. How do you stay updated on mortgage industry trends and regulations?
Okay, so we're registered with the New York State Department of Financial Services. Weatherstone is, as well as all loan officers that are all originators are all licensed there. We have to take an annual test, or we have to take an annual class, an updated continuing education class. Besides that, I belong to many different associations that are all educational for kind of up there. As well as, because I'm a broker, every different lender that kind of gives you a weekly update of what they're doing new, what's going on. So you kind of get to see what the trends are out there. What's the new thing that's out there? What is everybody trying to do? What's the new product for today? And we definitely watch rates that way. That's the big thing, is the rates.
Yes, absolutely. And do you mentor? Do you help others who are learning about mortgage? You're mentoring, first-time home buyers, of course, but do you help other mortgage officers?
I don't do too many other mortgage people outside of my own office. What I do is I do other real estate agents. I do a lot of lunch and learns, go into offices. They'll have their meeting, and then I'll go in and speak about new things. There's a lot of stuff going on in the real estate market right now with commissions and stuff like that. It's the biggest thing out there. And they ask me about sellers concessions and how can we finance the listing agent versus the sales agent and stuff like that. So I've been doing a lot of educational stuff on that, doing a lot of lunch and learns. I love new agents. I go in and teach new agents a little bit about the pre-qualifications and how I do one and why you need that before you go show a home. I also do a lot with listings. If a real estate agent is doing a listing presentation, I like to be part of it. I like to explain that I'm going to pre-approve anyone that's buying your home as a seller, so that wherever you're going, it's not going to be contingent on worrying about this deal falling apart, even if I'm not writing the mortgage. And then, like I said, I play really nice in the sandbox with a lot of the other mortgage guys. There's a couple great mortgage companies on Long Island. I'm very for that. There's so many people that need mortgages, and obviously I'm not doing them all. I'm a big fan of some of the other companies, some of the other people, and there's quite a few mortgage brokers out there right now that are doing the right thing.
That's so nice that you're a big community and all working together on Long Island. So what tips do you have for someone watching that maybe wants to improve their credit score before applying for mortgage?
If you're going to try to improve your credit score, you can have a credit report run. You'll get a full score on it. And then you can do what's called a what if, which is I'm very big. You say, okay, I have a 680 and I want to get a 720. It costs about $2.50. And I put into a computer and it'll tell me, okay, this is how you can get to a 720. I recommend everybody do it if you don't have a high score. And that'll give you exactly, pay this credit card down, get another credit card with a higher limit, be an authorized user on someone else's card, pay that collection account off and try to get it removed. Don't have any more inquiries for 3 months. It'll tell you exactly what to do. And that's probably the biggest tip I could do prior to purchasing a home and the pre-approval process. You have to do the pre-approval process.
Yes. So how do you assess a client's finances to recommend mortgage options or, programs? What do you do?
It's all based on income, asset, and credit. It's that simple. There's no science to a mortgage process. It's simple. It's cut and dry. You take a person's income that you can qualify, that's usable and it's believable and trustworthy and it's provable, because that's the biggest thing. You have to prove everything by paperwork that backs it up, and that divide that by 12, and that's their monthly income. And then you look at their assets and their credits and you figure out from there what they truly can afford and what their product is. Then we figure out from those three things what product is. There's really no product that's out there that doesn't allow you to have none or one of the three. You have to have at least two. You can go no income check, but you have to have assets and you have to have credit. You can go full income check and have down payment and not have the best credit. You could have really good credit, you could have really good income, and you could go to a very low down payment program. But you can't go less than two of them. You need at least two.
Absolutely. So sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming with the specific words, the jargon. How do you ensure clients understand their mortgage trends?
That's my favorite thing. Because I'm not a college student and my children are all college students and I'm proud of them all, I would say that I can put it in layman terms. The way my brain works logical, and I can explain stuff. I draw pictures a lot. I draw little houses and then show them this is what we're going to do. And this percentage is your income. And I do a lot of pictures. I'm very animated that way. It's just the way my brain works. And I have not in 33 years have a client that's appreciative to putting it that way. Instead of this is a loan estimate and line 100C says this and line 100B says this. It makes it easier to explain it. I put it really in layman's terms and step by step. And that's what makes us different. It really does.
I love that. Yes. And besides, what it would be the best thing to count with someone like you in the process, explaining everything, because we need to understand what we are doing. It's a big deal. But also we shouldn't be afraid of it, right?
Not at all. It shouldn't be scary. Like I said, it's the biggest purchase. You wouldn't go into a courtroom if it's a speeding ticket or something major without an attorney. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
The biggest purchase of your life. And usually most of them are first-time home buyers. If it's the first time you did it, you never did it before, and it's going to be the biggest purchase. Why wouldn't you want someone on your side?
Absolutely.
It doesn't make sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. You get all the help you need. Surround yourself with a nice team of people that help you. So what advice would you give to someone considering a career in mortgage lending?
So the mortgage licensing process and stuff is not that difficult. It really isn't. You take some classes, you get fingerprinted, you go through a background check, they run a credit report, you take a test, and you get an NMLS license and a number. Then you got to hook up with a sponsor. So you got to find a company that you work with. That's probably the number one biggest thing is who you team up with, because whoever you team up with, that's going to determine what products you offer. If you go to a mortgage broker, you go to a banker. If you go to one that's only licensed in New York, if you go to one that's licensed in multiple states, like that's number one. Then number two is how are you going to get business? Every single person that's successful in this business has a niche. If you don't have a niche, you're not in this long term. Some people are great at doing, just being a refinance person, and they're unbelievable with a gift of gab of making a phone call, calling them up and saying, how you doing? You have 7%. I'm going to get you 5.5%. Please refinance, blah, blah, blah. That's some people. But the majority of the people that are very successful have a way with making people trust them, have an honesty about them, definitely a relationship person, because they have to have a relationship with the client. They have to have a relationship with the lender. They have to have a relationship with the real estate agent. They have to have a listing with the listing agent. So there's a lot of different parts to it. But you have to find your niche of where you're going to get the business from. That's the biggest thing. And networking is what I do. And that's my thing.
I love that. Networking and relationships and finding your niche. That's great advice. You were telling me earlier that your wife makes fun of you when you go into a restaurant and everyone knows you. Do you keep in touch with people? Have you made friends along the way?
Oh, unbelievable. Some of my best friends are people that are either prior clients or people that I made on the way, or real estate agents. So, I have some amazing relationships for a very long time with people that I've met in the business. I had a person come into my office yesterday morning that worked for me 30 years ago. And he came into my office and he works in a different part of the financial world today. And he said, Nick, that was the best years of my life, was doing that. Unfortunately, 2008 came and a lot of people had to change the business. Otherwise, they'd all still be there probably. But I have some amazing relationships. Even the people that used to work for me, if they don't work for me now, there's usually a reason. It's not usually financially, they didn't have that niche anymore. Or they didn't have that book of business of how to get the business. That's probably the hardest part. But find something you love. You got to love what you do. And if you're going to get into this business, you really got to love it. It's not just, oh, I want to make a lot of money. It's something that you got to love it, because the people can tell. They can tell who's working for it just to make $1 and who's out there really to try to help them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do something you love. And make connections and it'll all fall into place, right?
Yeah.
So are there any challenges client face in the mortgage process that you are like expecting, that this moment will come and I'll be ready for this? And like, as a teacher, you help kids. I was a teacher many years ago.
Okay, good.
You help kids and you expect, okay, when they get to this part, we're going to help them with this. Is there any part that relates to this in the process here with your clients?
I think right now the most difficult part that young people are going to get into is when's the right time to buy. Just because they're watching what's happening with rates, what's going to happen with an election, is the rate's going to go up, the rate's going to go down, is the Fed going to do this, is the Fed going to do that? At the same point of that, there's not a lot of inventory. So with not a lot of inventory and the rates now starting to come down, is it going to get more competitive and prices are going to go up? Or if the rates come down low enough, are there more houses that can be on the market? The biggest problem we have in the real estate business right now is the current homeowners have great interest rates. The last 5 or 6 years that I did mortgages, people were getting 1.99, 2.99, 3.99. They don't want to touch those mortgages. So if I live in a $700,000 house at 299, I'm not going to go to a $400,000 house at 7. It doesn't make sense. I'm paying the same payment. Now I got half a house. So the downsizing isn't happening. People can't afford the upsizing. They don't want to leave their 299 or the 3% mortgages. So that's what they're hoping. They're hoping that the rates get low enough that those people will start to do something. My concern and worry is if a person doesn't buy now, and I truly think that every person should be buying now. They should have bought a month ago. They should have bought a year ago, because that was when the time when the prices have keep going up. When these rates do come down, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. So I encourage everybody to buy as soon as possible.
Yeah, that's great advice. And historically, it's always going up. So
But the
now
rates
it's
can
always
be
the best.
refinanced. So if you buy
Yeah.
now and you get a price and you get set, you can always refinance when the rates come down. If you don't buy now and the rates come down, you're going to pay more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's great, Nick. That's great advice. And I love all the expertise you're sharing. So is there anything we haven't covered that you would like to mention?
I think right now, one of the biggest things out there is real estate agents. I think you have to find the right real estate agent that fits you. A lot of things are going on with these new laws and new rules, and I don't think everybody is 100% sure of how they are and stuff. And people think that you should go to a buyer broker, you should go to a listing agent directly, forget the buyer broker. Find the right real estate agent for you and keep that relationship. So if Gigi found you a house, or Gigi is the person that helped you with the pre-approval, use them the whole way through. It's not going to help you get a cheaper priced house or a more expensive house to go directly to the listing agent. And that Gigi just worked so hard to educate you, to teach you, to introduce you to Nick, to get you all the way to the process, to try to go around them because of these new rules. I don't think it's a good advice, and I don't think it's going to work long term. I think it's going to change the landscape of real estate a little bit, especially on Long Island.
That's so important, and that's great advice. So you are working with mortgage. You have been working for a long time. You have built a great business and relationships. It's very clear that you love what you're doing, but are there any other hobbies or passions that you do outside of work?
Yeah. All right. So one is my phone. If I could change anything in the mortgage business, I would get rid of my phone because my wife would love that. As you can tell, my wife is the greatest thing I've ever in my life that's ever come in my world. And my phone is probably the biggest obstacle between us because one of the things that I make is I'm available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you need me, you call me, I'm going to answer. I'm going to text you. I'm going to get back to you. That's a little bit of an issue. Outside of the mortgage world, my 4 children are unbelievable. They all do different things. My daughters were gymnasts. One of my sons is a hockey player and plays college hockey now out west in Michigan. I have a little guy who's going to be a makeup artist and be the greatest makeup artist you ever seen. And he's starting tomorrow. So I want to wish him good luck. But he's going to be the greatest makeup artist you've ever met in your life. He already does it and he's incredible at it.
I love that.
My children are a big hobby. I love shopping. I love fashion. And I probably love shopping for my wife more than anything. If I could be a female shopper, I would do it. That would probably be my next job after being a mortgage broker.
I love that. Yes. And I bet you'd be awesome because you look great today. So you have great taste. So I love that. And your kids are awesome. And It's been great getting to meet you and talk to you about mortgage. And how can people reach you if they want to work with you?
Okay, so my office is in Holbrook. It's Weatherstone Mortgage. Obviously, we have www.weatherstonemortgage.com, which is our email, our website that's fully functional and can tell you everything about us. Our office number is 516-349-8181. I give out my cell phone to everybody, and my wife loves it, at 516-680-0128. You can call me, text me anytime. I will get back to you. You can tell me that Gigi sent me, and I'd love that. But this is great. This is something awesome that you do, and it's very educational. I think that this is something that should be done more often.
Absolutely. We at Dream Select Realty love talking with you and with all these amazing professionals that help first-time home buyers. So we are so honored that you joined us today for an episode. Thank you so much, Nick.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and I enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to follow Dream Select Realty on Instagram and TikTok, and Dream Select Home on X. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Visit the Dream Select Realty website, dreamselectrealty.com, for investment opportunities and future events. We'll be seeing you next time. Bye, Nick. Bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Thank you.